dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 5 o'clock on the dot. I'm Will Puckett. Cassidy has today off, so you get just Brandon and I. And we're lucky we have Brandon on tap because we are officially kicking off today as a severe weather alert day. We have been talking about this since early this week, that we were to see some sort of snow event or something, winter weather event rather, this weekend, and it's starting to become possibly a little bit more clear, right, Brandon?
Exactly, Will. And today, it should be noted, is going to be fine. It's going to be a dry, nice day. It is a cold start to the day, but we're giving you 24 hours advance notice because by this time tomorrow, snow will be falling across much of the region. Let's go take a look at conditions early this morning. Right now, outside WYMT studios, it is a dry start to the day, a quiet start to the day, but it is frigid again this morning. It's actually a little bit colder than yesterday morning in some spots. Whitesburg overlooking the city there, a quiet start to the day on this Friday. Few clouds in some of those northern counties ahead of the systems going to be affecting us going tonight and basically the entire weekend all the way through Monday morning, but otherwise not much to tell you about. Look at these temperatures though. Teens at a lot of places. Only a couple of 20-degree readings. Prestonsburg at 22, Ashland at 26, Lexington at 22, and Logan at 21. Everybody else in the teens. Monticello, the cold spot there at 14 this morning. That's about 12 degrees colder for them. 5 in Williamsburg, 8 in Middlesboro. A lot of folks just a degree or two cooler because it was pretty cold yesterday morning. Coffee meter, max warming definitely needed today, so make sure you grab that before you head out the door. Will almost had an incident with his coffee sliding off of a frosty car, so be careful with that and give yourself time to warm those cars up this morning. Out the door forecast as we head into the rest of the day. Sunshine, but clouds will start to increase a little bit later on, and temperatures go from about 18 this morning up to about 39 later today. But again, still a cold day, giving way to an interesting night and an interesting forecast. I'll talk more about it coming up here in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, we begin with a developing story this morning out of California. A police officer has died after being shot overnight. It happened in Davis near Sacramento. Officials say the officer responded to a crash and shots were fired. Police are looking for a man they believe was the shooter. Officials at nearby University of California, Davis issued a shelter in place for their students. We're following some incredible news out of Wisconsin this morning, where Jamie Kloss, a young teenager who went missing after her parents were murdered, was found alive yesterday afternoon. The 13-year-old was last seen on October 14th at a family member's birthday party. A suspect in the case was arrested just minutes after Kloss was found 65 miles north of her home in the community of Barron. Her aunt talked to CBS station WCCO.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. There was rumors earlier today, and I prayed and prayed they were true, and they come to not be true, and I just shut myself totally down because I thought today was going to be the day. Then to find out 2 hours later that she was found, I just cannot believe this.
The Barron County Sheriff's Department is planning on hosting a news conference at 11 this morning to release more details about the case. A once missing teen from Buchanan County, Virginia is safe and the suspect in her disappearance is in custody. 15-year-old Madeline Wells went missing on Wednesday in Grundy. She was thought to have been with this man, 21-year-old Michael Noonan. Police believe the pair met on Facebook. A sheriff's office spokesman said they had been seeing each other after school for several days. Well, a man is dead this morning after jumping in the Tug Fork River to escape police yesterday morning in Pike County. Kentucky State Police say evidence was found at the house Michael J. Hatfield was staying in, and he later admitted to stealing the purse from a parked car at Appalachian Tobacco. We are told a fight then broke out when troopers tried to arrest him. Hatfield ran into the creek bed and jumped into the cold water.
And it's imperative to get medical attention as fast as possible because you've got to be rewarmed in order to survive something like that.
Mingo County authorities later found him on railroad tracks in West Virginia. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. His body has been taken to Frankfort for an autopsy. We will keep you updated on air and online as we learn more. 11 years ago this week, someone shot and killed preacher Marion Estep in his car along the Hal Rogers Parkway here in Perry County. There are still no leads and no answers for his family. But despite that, the legacy of Estep lives on through his grandson, who entered his 11th year of preaching this year and his first year as sheriff of Perry County. It is on this stretch of highway where someone shot and killed Marion Estep on January 10th, 2008.
We made peace with it. We know he was a great man of God, and we're happy and confident in knowing where he is.
Joe Engel is Estep's grandson, and just like his grandfather, has taken to preaching.
And the first time I actually preached was at his funeral.
While taking up preaching,
when I was a police officer, young police officer, and he was still out, he was just so proud of that.
We now know him as Sheriff Engel. He won his first term in November to be Perry County's top lawman.
I know he is right now. I know he's looking down on me. I get a little bit teary-eyed thinking about it, but he would just be overjoyed.
But the story doesn't end there. Now, with his newfound position, Sheriff Engel plans to throw extra manpower into finding who killed his grandfather.
Hopefully we get hold of some of this information in there and dig and you know, maybe open a cold case up back on it. I think it'd be a good way for my term as sheriff to honor my grandfather's life, you know, is try to bring somebody to justice on this.
But no matter what happens, knowing his grandfather was a man of God and is in a better place. Anyone with information is still urged to call Kentucky State Police Post 13 or the Perry County Sheriff's Department. The man accused in a murder trial in Laurel County will be back in court later this year. Investigators say Michael Collier shot his estranged wife, her father, and another woman back in 2017. Gordon Browning died in the shooting. Jessica Collier and Amy Lyons survived. A pretrial conference is set for March 7th. Meanwhile, the trial for a man facing federal charges in connection with 2 bank robberies is set for March 11th. A grand jury indicted Robert Dale Bobby Terry last week. He pleaded not guilty on Wednesday. He allegedly took more than $16,000 from Hayden Citizens Bank in May and more than $3,300 from a bank in Manchester in June. Terry is the grandson of former Perry County Sheriff Robert Ken Terry. A man prosecutors say was the ringleader behind a string of pharmacy burglaries in 11 states, including one in Corbin, will spend 7 years in prison. Robert Nunley pleaded guilty in March. Prosecutors said Nunley, along with others, would break in and then swipe drugs off the shelves to sell. The burglaries happened between 2010 and 2015. An eastern Kentucky man accused of failing to finish a heating and cooling job now faces charges. Police arrested Justin Trout Wednesday in Floyd County. In a complaint filed in Johnson County, a woman claims she paid him $850 for a heating unit that he failed to deliver. The woman said she had gone more than a month without heat. Trout faces a charge of theft by failure to make required disposition. The search is on for a piece of Letcher County history. A noose used in the last legal hanging spent years on display at the courthouse before being put in storage. But as WYMT's Connor James reports, when officials went to look for it, they noticed it was nowhere to be found. For years, the last noose used in a known legal public hanging in Letcher County sat at the county's courthouse.
So I knew it was up here, and I'd looked at it several times.
As a kid, it fascinated Mike Watts. In 1910, Floyd Frazier was hanged in front of a crowd thousands bigger than the population of the town. Frazier was accused of murdering Ellen Flannery.
Ellen Flannery was my great-grandmother.
You could call it a lifelong obsession for Madeline Flannery. She studied the case for years.
When the conviction was upheld in 1910, that meant that he had to be hanged.
The noose was arguably one of the most impactful pieces of memorabilia the courthouse had.
Only legal hanging in Letcher County, and we had a piece of the rope, and we had the noose, and now it's disappeared.
Now it's gone.
But then this end, where this knot is, looks to me like it's not as frayed as bad, and that it's been cut with a sharp object.
Watts isn't sure when it went missing or why it was taken.
I'd just like to have it back to preserve it for our citizens to view.
He just wants it back in the office. In Letcher County, Connor James, WYMT Mountain News. Now, if you know where the noose might be, contact the Letcher County Circuit Court Clerk's office. Officials in one eastern Kentucky county are doing their part to help curb drug use in their community. Jackson Police Chief Kenneth Spicer says his department gets calls every day about needles being found in public places. While the health department in Breathitt County created a needle exchange program last year, officials wanted to take safety a step further, setting up needle collection boxes.
We didn't want to think that people think that we were pushing making needles available to people for drug use, but whenever we looked at the statistics and we saw that Breathitt County was one of the 5 counties in the United States where there might be a danger of a major hepatitis outbreak, we thought, we have to do something.
The drop-off boxes are located at City Hall, the courthouse, and the Jackson Fire Department. Spicer says people dropping off needles will not be arrested or charged. Firefighters in one southern Kentucky county have been very busy the last few days. At least 5 homes or buildings have burned in Whitley County. Investigators say all the fires are suspicious because none of them had electricity or anyone living in them. One of the homeowners was getting ready to move back into the home when it went up in flames.
It was a brick home. I had brand new floors and everything put in it. Didn't get a chance to move back in.
Investigators say the suspicious fires in the Corbin city limits started about 2 Tuesday morning. The others all started out around 5 a.m. Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a new study shows a specific group of people are more likely to spread false information on a popular social media platform. And we'll take a final look at what's going on in Hollywood this week in your Eye on Entertainment Report.
We're about 24 hours out from our first potential snow event in a while. I'll take a look at what we're expecting and how it might impact your weekend in about 2 minutes.